Hello, 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 and welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion. Before we get started, let me remind you that we are covered by the BIPCOT No Government License, which allows for the reuse and distribution of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is BIPCOT.org. We are also protected by Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969. Which ruled that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is, quote, directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action. So everything we say here is hypothetical. Go fuck yourself, NSA guy. Yes, that is the lovely Derica you just heard. I'm Jason. We have Andrew. I guess this is our crew now. Yay, I'm so exhausted, you guys. I'm just not entertaining today.
Just the three of us.
The tripod.
God damn it. My connection sucks so bad. Holy
That's
shit.
because you're so close to DC and they're using it for NSA spying purposes.
They're piggybacking off of our shit.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
They're mining your Wi-Fi like people mine Bitcoin.
Yeah. I wonder if I should like fucking leave the call and come back in, but whatever. If it starts getting bad again, I might drop out and try to fix it real quick.
If you cannot drop out during one specific article that we're going to cover tonight, and that will be later. And you know which article I'm talking about because we need the Derica innuendos on it.
Yeah. We were rocking those. We got, yeah.
See? I already got one in. Check it out.
What was it? I missed. What was
I
it?
said I'm excited about this.
Oh, God.
I found it intellectually arousing.
It's stimulating. It's very stimulating.
Episode 69 is still our largest, has the largest number of listens.
I bet.
Nice.
It was also our longest. It was almost 3 hours.
3 hours, yeah. That was a long episode.
Yeah, it was a good time.
For anybody tuning in now, episode 69 was the episode where we went through like weird sex laws from every state. So that was a fun episode.
Yeah, and then Lindsay pulled up the official sex position of each state.
Yep.
Yep.
That was a good time.
That was an interesting episode.
Hashtag that's what she said.
Ooh.
No. Oh, you guys want to just jump into it then? We'll just jump into this article that Andrew threw in.
All right. I'm going to try to fix my fucking... I'll be back in just a second. Okay.
Fine.
Apparently we're not going to just jump into it.
She's not coming back. She's going to ditch us. We're terrible.
Yeah, I know.
We're terrible people. So... the article that the last article that you just threw in there, it's judges scathing words for Allenton's police over violent arrest caught on video. You perjured yourself in disgusting blue line. Oh, can you hear us now, Derica? Are you back?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you
So
guys hear me?
this article that Andrew threw in at the last minute, it's judges scathing words for Allenton police over violent arrest caught on video. Quote, you perjured yourself, and a quote, disgusting blue line. Those are phrases from the judge.
Wow.
From the judge to the cops.
Yeah. The cops and the DA. The cop and the DA. Okay. Lehigh County Judge Maria L. Dantos had scathing words for the Allenton police and the Lehigh County District Attorney's Office after a man whose violent 2018 arrest was captured on video that went viral was acquitted of all charges Friday morning. Dantos told the man, John Perez, he was justified in protecting himself after an officer forcefully shoved him and she said was, quote, disgusted by what she heard on the officer's body cam videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, why isn't this happening almost every time? Because I mean, just now a judge is being disgusted by this.
Yeah, this article is this article is from Friday the 21st.
Yeah. This isn't new that this is going on, but this is the first time that a judge has openly just been like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Yeah. So okay, this is from the judge, quote, for the first time in recent history, I became ashamed. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed of the officers and their conduct and their words and their actions, and I was ashamed of the office I spent 17 years in, that they would bring this to prosecution. Quote, you chose to instead put on display police officers calling people P blank blank blank, comma B blank blank blank, threatening to shoot a dog, forming your disgusting blue line of 4 officers who turned their backs and said they saw nothing. The judge called out the police officers' conduct during arrest and subsequent trial. Quote, you perjured yourselves. You escalated situation without cause. Cops smirking on the stand at the jury, laughing at the defense attorney, high-fiving in the hallway after testimony, as if there was anything to be proud of here. Quote, you, Officer LeBron, shoved Mr. Perez because you were mad, period. And then you got up on the stand and told the jury that you were just trying to make some space. That is not what happened. 9 officers, most of them night shift, pulling cars from other areas of the city because you lost it. That's what happened. You lost it over nothing because someone was talking to you in a manner you didn't like. No crime. You served them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dantos, this is the judge now, Dantos, who served 17 years as the prosecutor in the Lehigh County District Attorney's Office, raising to the rank of first assistant DA before becoming a judge in 2007, wondered why Perez's case was brought to trial. Quote, I warned the Commonwealth, and yet you display this conduct for the world to see. It's shameful. I would really like to unite this community between law enforcement and its citizens, but the blame for this lays with you, and it's for you to fix.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and then there's
that's like she went straight up mom guilt trip. I'm so disappointed in you.
Yeah.
On these cops.
Yeah, and then there's a link to the full transcripts. And it actually says warning graphic language.
Jesus.
she was fucking furious.
The full transcript is 6 pages long.
Well,
I've heard just the judge's statement. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the video either, it really is basically this cop just shoves this dude, and the guy's like, "Hey, what the fuck?" And so, because there's no provocation, there's nothing before that. It's just this cop is walking through and shoves this guy out of his way just because he's like, oh, fuck with me. I'm on steroid rage. And shoves the dude. So the dude, like, reacts the way you would to anybody and, like, shoves him back. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then the cop goes fucking ballistic and beats, like, the fuck out of him. Yeah. And throws him to the ground. And there's all these other cops that show up, and it just turns into this massive fucking thing. And they try to demonize this dude.
Were they, like, plain clothes at the time?
No, I think they were in uniform.
No, they're absolutely in uniform.
Wow, okay. I'm mixing it up with another case then of the plainclothes cops. That was in the update on that.
They are. If you can see this, they are definitely in uniform.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh. So they totally. I mean, this is an unprovoked, out of nowhere, dude's roid raging and beats the piss out of somebody, and then all of the cops proceed to close ranks for a year and lie on the stand about what happened and what led up to it and what was going on. And I think, if I remember right, didn't they also lie about the video even existing?
Yes.
Yeah. They lied
Yeah.
about whether or not video existed of the incident, like on the stand
Wow.
in court and everything else. And then now it all has come out. And this judge is just like, you cannot see all of what happened with this case as a judge and even try and claim you have a right to be called a judge at all. Like, no matter how much they will try to back up the cops, at this point it had gotten so blatant and obvious and awful that I think she's more disgusted than anything about the fact that there's just no way out of this.
Yeah.
There's no way at this point. Like, this is so completely blatant. You just beat the fuck out of this dude just for no goddamn reason at all. And then all of your buddies lied repeatedly about being there when they weren't there and seeing things that never happened and all this other stuff to cover you because they thought they would just get a pass on it again. And then all this video evidence came out that showed they were all fucking liars. And you just kept telling your lies.
Yeah.
And the prosecutor kept trying to bring the case.
Yeah, it says okay, I found another article on the arrest, and it says Perez, that's the guy that was arrested, 34, alleged a police officer approached him, calling out profanities, ethnic slurs, and harassing him. Perez pointed to a nearby alley and told the officers to take off his badge, and he said, quote, "Let's deal with this as men." Perez said he was thinking, do you like treating people this way? Is that the right for you? That was then Perez said he was shoved to the ground and placed under arrest by 8 city officers seen on the video footage.
Wow.
Yeah. Citing an affidavit of a probable cause in the case, officers were headed back to their vehicles after wrapping up a call when Perez started to argue with them. Officer Jose Lebron alleged Perez mentioned, quote, "something about our guns and took an aggressive step towards me," according to the report. Lebron stated in the report Perez had a clenched fist and was trying to pull him down when other officers assisted Lebron in subduing Perez and handcuffing him. The video shows at least 4 officers taking Perez to the ground. He was arrested with resisting arrest and disorderly conduct. Yeah. Perez had to go to the hospital for a broken nose, inflammation to his head, swelling to the shoulder area, various bumps, scrapes, and bruises throughout his body. Yeah.
He shouldn't have been the one on trial there.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, no, because he was literally just a dude who happened to be there.
Yeah, he had recently.
So I hope he
had
presses assault charges.
Yeah, he had recently moved from New York to Allentown for a more peaceful life.
And that's immediately what happens to him.
Jesus.
You're in the wrong town, boy. Get him. Like, that's immediately what happens. It's fucking. I mean, and it's so blatant when you watch the video. It is so fucking blatant that this dude's just like roid raging and just like all hopped up on adrenaline and pissed off and is just like, "Hey," and just starts fucking throwing shit at, throwing words at him that he knows are gonna piss him off, and doing everything he can, all but like square up, homie, is like where he draws the line. He doesn't quite get to that point, but he gets almost to that point, and this dude's like, "Dude, you really got that much of a problem? Take your fucking badge off. Let's go fucking settle this." Like, it's...
Yeah. Jesus.
But of course, it doesn't... Well, it doesn't work like that with cops, though. That's the problem. Is because cops have their magical suits on and everything, that means that they're wearing their gang colors, and as long as they have their gang colors on, they get the backup of the gang.
Yeah.
Right. Don't fuck with me. I'm part of the gang.
Yeah. That thin blue line. And yeah, while we're on police. Yeah, while we're on police, 4 in 10 U.S. drug arrests in 2018 were for marijuana offenses, mostly simple possession. Hold on, and just wait for this number. Quote, "A growing number of states have legalized or decriminalized the possession of small amounts of marijuana, but the drug remains illegal in other states and under federal law. And police officers in the United States still make more arrests for marijuana offenses than for any other drug, according to FBI data. Police officers made about 663,000 arrests for marijuana-related offenses in the 50 states and District of Columbia in 2018, amounting for 40% of the 1.65 million total drug arrests in the U.S. that year.
Drug arrests shouldn't happen to begin with, but especially not for fucking marijuana.
Yeah, 663,000 in 1 year divided by 365 is 1,816 and change. Divided by 24 is what I put multiplied by 24 is 75 a day. And that's like 1.2 per minute.
Jesus.
I'm trying to calculate here. So you said it was how many total arrests? Does it account for
marijuana?
Yeah,
663,000 in the 1 year.
All right, hang on. So 3. I'm trying
Can we get
to
the
make
Jeopardy music.
Man, so I got to make sure that I have enough. All right, and wait, so that's.
What are you trying to fucking calculate?
I'm doing it backwards. God damn it! How many arrests? Give me a second. I know what I'm doing here. I just keep entering the wrong numbers, and then.
Just tell us what were you trying to calculate?
663,000.
So it's 663,000 arrests, and the United States population is roughly 327 million.
Something like that, yeah.
So it's
Andrew, I'm about to offer to homeschool you, dude.
You don't even want to do the math anymore. No, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it anymore. No.
Now you sound just like my fucking homeschooling kid.
No. Just going to do it on my own. And then.
Oh, my goodness.
No, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to collect myself now.
The direction I was trying to go, and you don't get to know the math anymore now. You're going to have to do it at home, kids. But the direction I was trying to go is that is not an insignificant amount of the population. The entire population of the United States.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Police officers made about 663,000 arrests for marijuana-related offenses in 50 states and District of Columbia 2018, amounting for 40% of the 1.65 million total drug arrests in the U.S. that year. The second largest category of drug arrest involved, quote, other drugs, 29%, followed by heroin, cocaine, and other derivatives, totaling 25%, synthetic or manufactured drugs, 6%. These figures,
other drugs, I'm sure, are like prescriptions that they weren't theirs.
Prescriptions, mushrooms, etc. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, 663,000 people arrested. Not we're not talking like ticketed and let go. Like 663,000 people that were hooked and booked because of a plant.
That's how many people per day? I know you did the math on it.
Dude, stop.
I'm not going to do the math on it.
It's like 1,800. It's like 1,800 a day. Like 75 an hour
across the United States. I mean, I imagine 1,800 people a day in your town just getting arrested for a plant per day, all day, every day, 24 hours a day, 1,800 people over and over, 7 days a week for an entire year.
Yeah, 663,000 is like 2/3 of the population of my county.
Wow.
Yeah.
All because they owned something that makes them happy that other people didn't want them to have.
Literally a medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly it, too. And, you know, and I've brought up before, but like a lot of people like when you try to advocate for, you know, the legalization of marijuana, oh, you just want to get high all the time. You damn stoner. I don't even ever smoke pot. I don't like it at all. I know it shocks everybody, but I don't like it. I just don't. I don't. The only time I'd ever use it is maybe medicinally, but other than that, never. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm not advocating for it because I want to get high. I'm advocating for it because you're literally caging peaceful people because they have a fucking plant.
And you know what? Who fucking cares if I do want to get high? How does that threaten you? I mean, Jesus, all I want to do is...
Oh, you just want the alcohol age to be dropped to 18 so you can get drunk. Like, oh, you just want the driving age to be dropped to 15 because you want to drive. Like, what? What the fuck does it matter?
Yeah.
It's stupid, but I don't know. Another related but boring segue. Pot shops are turned to highway sponsor signs amid strict advertising rules. So, but who will
improvise, adapt, overcome?
Yeah, but who will keep the highways clean? Cannabis companies are using a loophole in Colorado's strict limits on marijuana advertising by sponsoring state highways and putting their names on roadside signs. Currently, 51 cannabis dispensaries, cultivators, manufacturers, and edible producers sponsor roadways through the state, according to the Adopt a Highway Maintenance Corporation. Although they represent less than half of all the organizations that participate in the Clean Colorado Act, their spans reach 198 miles, or 66% of the roads actively sponsored, according to the Denver Post.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Nice.
66%.
Yeah, 198 miles. Quote, the rules governing highway signs are in a different section than rules governing the cannabis industry, said Nico Pinto, Government Affairs Director for the Boulder-based Terrapin Care Station, which operates 6 dispensaries in the Denver metro area. Quote, the highway signs were a loophole that was overlooked. Colorado Department of Transportation officials say the signs are not intended to be an advertising medium, but they have become a clever workaround for an industry with few other options. Oftentimes, they are strategically placed near exit where passerbys can find the business.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, Colorado's rules governing how and where cannabis companies can advertise are strict to prevent marketing messages from reaching minors. State regulators prohibit cannabis businesses from advertising on TV, radio, or in print unless they can prove the audience is predominantly 21 or older. Digital and social media platforms are even more restrictive.
So, we all know, if you are under the age of 21, you can't actually see the signage on the outside of buildings.
Right.
Yeah.
God.
And what minor reads print anymore?
What anybody reads print anymore? No, you can't put that ad in the newspaper. We don't want them teenagers to see it. I'm pretty sure that if I put an ad in a newspaper, we can assume that everyone reading it is over 21.
Probably over 35.
Yeah.
Probably over 65, let's be honest. No one else reads newspaper.
Yeah, I was going to keep reading, but I don't want to try to pronounce this person's name, so.
We got to make sure them darned marijuana places aren't advertising in the Foxy Shopper.
Oh, you guys can see the name. You pronounced it.
It's Harsha Gangadhar Butla.
I can't see the end of it.
It's Gangadhar
Dabla? Yeah, it's unpronounceable.
Gungadine. All right, he's a better man than I, Gungadine.
G. Marsha G.
It's absolutely unpronounceable. But yeah, but who will clean up the highways?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, what happens? What happens if you pull that? No one else was sponsoring those highways. That's how they were able to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no one else is cleaning them up. They're volunteering to do that as part of their sponsorship.
Yeah.
So
this sounds like a fucking win-win to me. I don't know why anybody's going to call it a loophole that got overlooked.
There shouldn't be any rules on advertising to begin with, but
we we had all these laws to keep them from advertising. We didn't think that maybe they might do something good for their community. We got to go ahead and put a stop to that.
Yep.
What?
It is a losing situation because of the taxes, right? The government gets the tax money and they put it to good use. So restricting advertising, doesn't that kind of mean it restricts their sales? Which restricts the amount of money that the government gets?
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's because the government is begrudgingly doing this. Like they've gotten to this point where like, okay, well, I guess we'll let you sell it. But only under these conditions, and only if you don't advertise, and only to people who can also buy booze and now cigarettes, which is also retarded. And only, and like they're trying to, because they're hoping that if they give people just this tiny taste of freedom, that'll be enough. And they'll be like, okay, well, that was enough. That was all I needed.
What was that Facebook page, Campaign for Longer Leashes? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's just like, well, we'll let out an extra quarter-inch of your leash and hope that you're happy. And so far, because most people are sheep who will just march in line to the slaughterhouse, they're just like, okay, well, gee, thanks, Crown. I'm glad that it pleased the Crown for me to have a little more freedom.
Thank you for letting me use something that makes me feel better about the shit life you pushed me into.
Yeah. Dobby was given legal pot. Dobby is free.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. Dobby's a free elf. Not quite.
All right, let's pick on Washington D.C.
Like that's hard.
Yeah. No, this is well, technically it's not Washington D.C. It's Falls Church, Virginia.
Oh, go for it. Shit, I live in Virginia.
Yeah.
Rip Falls Church apart, man.
Okay. Metro has spent $8.3 million and taken 5 years to build 2 unfinished bike racks.
Yes.
at East Falls Church and the Vienna Metro stations.
Multi-million-dollar bike racks that they still haven't finished.
Yeah. WMATA originally budgeted $600,000 for each bike rack. A $600,000 bike rack. Okay, I mean these aren't small bike racks. I get it, right? They're supposed to house like 92 bikes each. $600,000 for a bike rack. All right.
Yeah.
Originally budgeted $600,000 for each rack, but the price tag has soared to $1.9 million each.
How?
The covered bike rack shelters will house 92 bikes, putting the price tag at more than $20,000 per bike.
That's triple what they budgeted.
Future costs to finish the projects could raise to even a higher number. The projects were supposed to be completed in December 2015, but remain unfinished in 2020.
So apparently Falls Church has decided that they're going to put suburban husbands in charge of these projects.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'll get them done. Don't worry.
Well, it gets even better. Metro says due to, quote, numerous construction quality issues, including damage caused by a contractor repeatedly drilling into an underground duct bank, led to lengthy delays.
Oh, they fucking do that shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah. The transit agency severed ties with the first contractor 4 years ago. Metro says a second contractor also did not meet its quality control standards. In a statement to ABC7, Metro says, quote, quality control issues with contractors can take time to sort out. But Metro determined it was more important to get the project done right rather than to get it done quickly.
What? Done right? What are you drilling into? What? How elaborate are these bike racks? Is this robotic arms that pick up?
You know what? You
could
have put my grandpa in charge of this and had it done in like a week.
Wait, hold on. Okay. What? Hold on. In January 2020, Signs at the fenced-off construction sites said the project would wrap up in late 2018. After ABC 7 aired its story in January, the signs were removed.
They were still there in 2020.
They hadn't even bothered to go out there and take down the signs 2 years later. This is how much they care.
God, these are your tax dollars, Falls Church.
These are bike racks. What does it fucking take for an enclosed bike rack? You need a couple of sides, a little roof on it. You need little stalls for the bikes to go into, and what? Some sort of a bar that you can lock up? That's fucking it.
Yeah, you don't even need the locks because people who ride bikes in the city have their own fucking locks with them.
Yeah, me and 2 of my buddies could. You know what? I'm gonna make a great offer to Falls Church right now. Me and 2 of my buddies will do that. We will finish it up on time and well for $300,000 each. Yeah. There you go. We've already saved you a ton of money, and we'll get it done in like 4 fucking days.
Yeah.
Boom.
Easily. Yeah. A dozen people, you get it done quick.
For the low price, $300,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Per bike rack.
Yeah.
$3.8 million. And multiple years late. For bike racks.
Because no matter what the task, if it can be fucked up in a way, government will find a way to fuck it up.
And these are the same people that have been trying to build the F-35 for how long now?
It's the world's most expensive military project.
It's the world's most expensive fucking doorstop.
Yeah, and it's a boondoggle that still doesn't fucking work. It's they're how many trillions of dollars into this, and it still doesn't work. And the best part is, you could have handed that over. You could have been like, hey, I really want a jet that's going to use the helmet to control it, that is going to be kind of stealth, and it's got this cool rotatey vertical takeoff engine thing. That's what I want. And you could have handed that out for bidding, and you would have had at least 2 different companies that were like 4 friends in garages who would have come up with something based on Linux for an operating system that would have worked fantastically in a year or less.
Right.
And they would have been like,
you could hand it to fucking like engineering students, you know, and tell them they don't have to take a final if they figure it out.
Shit, I watched engineering students on a TV show recently build a bridge over a canal out of Meccano. I don't know if you know what Meccano is. It's like
okay, as of September 16th, 2019, the Pentagon has spent $1.5 trillion on the F-35.
Jesus.
Trillion with a T.
Trillion with a T.
I watched a bunch of engineering. The Meccano's like not Connects. What's the other one? The
erector sets.
It's like an erector set, right? But it's the European version, basically, of erector sets. Yeah. And they used just a shit ton of those to build a bridge. And the funniest part is, at one point, for the engineering of the bridge, they handed it over to an engineering firm to help them, you know, like contractor-wise, to help them design the whole thing. And the contractors were told, like, hey, we're going to do this entirely out of Meccano. So that's all you can use is just Meccano parts. And they came up with a whole bunch of pieces that don't exist in the Meccano set for it. And like, that's how these engineering firms work. They go, oh, well, but I don't like that. I'm going to do it this way. No, that wasn't the requirements that were handed to you. No. And so they just ditched it and they did their own thing. But the government doesn't work that way. If a contractor goes, well, I know this doesn't exist, but we need it. The government goes, okay, well, we're going to have some committee meetings and some Senate hearings on...
and then it has to go through R&D and then...
Yeah, and we'll figure it out. And in 3 years, we'll have that part.
Yep.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the mechanic with a lathe at his own house had just done it in like 4 hours. And Yeah,
exactly. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. This this is how government works, though, is they go, oh, a bike rack? Okay, well, we're going to budget more than $500,000 fucking dollars.
$600,000 for
Each, right?
Each. $600,000 each
1.2 million
for a bike rack.
And
that holds
it's
92 bikes.
92
If you
bikes.
tell me that you are building a bike parking garage, then maybe I could see you budgeting $1.2 million for it. But this isn't a fucking parking garage.
It's a
This
pair
thing-
of bike racks.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well,
now it's 3.8 million or 1.9 million dollars each. Literally triple the price
Ugh.
originally budgeted.
The city of La Crosse built a
And
traffic
it's
circle.
still not done, by the way.
Yeah.
Still not done, yeah.
The city of La Crosse built a traffic circle, which is, literally a circle of blacktop
You've told us
around
about
a little
that.
concrete thing. Yeah, and they
my
spent
county's
over $1
getting
million
ready
on it.
My county's getting ready to build one. And they literally said to people, doing something about this intersection is better than doing nothing. Like, that was their excuse for putting a traffic circle in.
We don't know if this is the right answer, but at least we're doing something.
But at least it's an answer. Yeah.
Jabbing
Yeah.
myself in the eye with the stick. At least I'm doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Writing in Mickey Mouse on your ballot. At least I'm doing something.
Voting at all.
Yeah.
At least what did you do, anarchist? At least I did something.
And they want to put this traffic circle on a major north to south highway that runs all down the East Coast. They want to put this traffic circle on an intersection in my county that's on 301, Route 301. And 301 is just, it's huge. It's like it goes all the way down the fucking coast in both directions from us. And so we're going to be that fucking retarded county that everybody on the East Coast knows is the county that put a fucking traffic circle on 301.
Yep.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to
Fabulous.
start finding ways around it just so they can avoid having to deal with the traffic circle.
Yeah.
And you have no place to lock up your bike. Sorry.
Yeah, because it's
Yep.
still not finished. But hey, at least there's signs that said it was going to be here 2 years ago.
All right, here's another one. Here's another government one for you. Well, they're all government ones, I guess, technically, because we wouldn't be doing the show if the government was stupid.
Yeah.
All right. Tennessee Republicans worry women will go on tampon buying frenzy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. Women can't be trusted around tax-free tampons. If you cut the price of menstrual products, they're bound to go tampon mad and buy boxes of the stuff just for the hell of it. They'd line their walls with surplus or super plus. They'd polish their floor with pads. It would be an absolute bedlam. That appears to be Republicans in Tennessee think anyway. On Tuesday, this article came out on Valentine's Day, the 14th. On Tuesday, GOP lawmakers pushed back against a proposal that would include sanitary products in Tennessee's annual sales tax holiday. The 3-day event, which is held at the end of July, allows shoppers to buy items like computers and clothing without paying the usual 7% sales tax.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Quote, I would like to think since it's a sales tax holiday, there's really no limit on the number of items anyone can purchase, said Joey Hensley, the Republican senator, during a debate on the bill. Quote, I don't know how you would limit the number of items someone could purchase. Hensley's legislative assistant later explained that the questions were prompted by concerns, quote, that the possibility of people purchasing large quantities had not been factored in when determining the cost of the legislation. One would not want Tennessee to be bankrupted by the residents of bulk buying tampons.
Because you see that on Black Friday when they go on sale. People fist fights over
Tampons.
All the time.
Always. It's just such a regular thing. And the fact, what infuriates me though too is the fact that they want to frame it as if it costs them something to not steal from you.
Oh, don't you love that when they do that? Oh, this is going to cost us this much money to fucking lower this tax. No, it fucking doesn't. Your tax is costing us less if you do that. It's not costing you shit. It wasn't yours.
Yeah, that's. Oh man, but if I don't steal from that house down the street, I mean that's gonna cost me like an extra $800. Like,
Yeah.
I got to make sure I break into everybody's homes.
Fucking
Otherwise,
wow.
I'm costing myself money.
Because I'll tell you what, I got kids and a house to run. If there were a tax holiday, the first thing I'm thinking of is definitely my vag.
Yeah.
The fuck?
The annual tax revenue from menstrual products is not insignificant, ranging from around $1 million in Utah to about $20 million in California. This is money a lot of states don't want to lose. After all, they might have to make up funds via drastic measures like taxing billionaires a little bit more. In 2016, Jerry Brown, the Democratic governor of California at the time, vetoed a bipartisan bill that would have exempted menstrual products from sales tax, saying it would cost the state too much in lost revenue.
It's kind of bullshit that they tax it anyways, because
Brown
that's
also
not equal protection under the law, because they're taxing only women.
Yeah, Brown also shut down similar bills that would have ended certain state taxes for diapers.
It's just, I mean, there is not a thing that you can do that is not taxed or regulated, including bleed.
Yeah. Quote, I don't know how you would limit the number of items someone could purchase. Like it's tax-free. It's tax-free. Let's go out and buy a pallet of tampons.
Jesus.
I mean, if you could afford to, you would.
Yeah.
If you're a freaking prepper, maybe.
No, preppers use other things. Preppers don't put aside tampons, really. Yeah, cups and things like that.
Unless you listen to the forums on first aid and they say just stick a tampon in a bullet hole, that'll stop it.
Oh, well, yeah, but
if you're listening to this show, do not do that.
You could.
Please don't do that.
For a very, very short period of time, it would probably be okay. But there are at least 8 other methods to dealing with a bullet hole that I can come up with that are significantly better.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, at best, in a mag kit, what they're useful as is like surgical sponges. If you've got like an open bleeding wound and you need to clear blood from it to see what you're doing, then they could be useful.
You know what
because
else
they
works
are
for
sterile.
That? Yeah, you know what else works for that though? Surgical sponges.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying if you don't have anything else on hand.
Yeah, like and we're dealing with that we got to worry about antibiotics for our rats and stuff, and Lindsay was like, well, we have to go take him to the vet. I'm like, we don't have to take him to the vet. We can literally go to Farm and Fleet and buy syringes and antibiotics and everything else right from there. You don't need to go to a vet. It's just a metal tube with a pointy bit on the end.
Yeah,
that's all it is. They're not regulated or anything. Like, you can just go buy them. It's the same thing with everything else. So this whole idea that anybody would need to stock up massively on tampons, I feel like if you're that worried long term about
you probably found a more sustainable alternative.
Yeah, you probably found something else.
Far cheaper also.
Yeah, for real. You pay $45 once every 5 years for these things.
Yeah.
They're worried about having to choke somebody to death over untaxed tampons.
Black. I got the black market. Please.
Black market.
Yeah.
You're only allowed to sell Kotex on the black market.
Yeah. That would be a ridiculous amount of money to spend because, I mean, who's going to spend that much on tampons all at once?
Hey,
they're not cheap, actually. Believe it or not, they're not fucking cheap.
Republican lawmaker. Enough said.
Yeah.
These are the same people. Remember, these are the same people largely who come up with these arguments and things, who also argue that like they're the incel movement, right? They're the ones who want to report the premium Snapchatters for tax evasion. They're the ones who like this is what they do. They hate women and they also simultaneously don't understand them at all.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
They're just fucking bitter.
we're gonna get into that article now. We have to because
Yeah, that was a good segue.
Andrew brought it up. All right. Okay. I'm trying. Hold on.
I'm waiting.
California bill would require occupational license for porn actors, strippers, and cam girls.
Can you imagine these fucking stuffed suits sitting around trying to determine what best practices are for these fucking professions so they can develop a fucking licensure program?
Can you imagine like sitting up getting ready to shoot like Anal Train 7?
Right.
And you're all ready to go, and so like some person from OSHA walks up and goes like, "Can I see your license?"
I'm gonna need your license. These must be displayed conspicuously.
I'm gonna have to observe to make sure that you're following industry standards. Like whoever gets that job at OSHA won the fucking jackpot.
Like man. you can't choke on that dick without our permission.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean.
You need safety goggles to take that facial. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I need to make sure everybody has the proper PPE here.
Yeah.
My goodness.
It is just a load that they're shooting here.
All right.
Boo.
In a very California story, inter-union drama appears to be I can't even read this, you guys. All right, assembly members Lorena Gonzalez, Democrat out of San Diego, and Christina Garza, Democrat out of Bell Gardens, introduced Assembly Bill AB 2389. The bill would require adult entertainers and video performers, including webcam performers, to obtain a business license and complete a state-mandated training course before being allowed to ply their trade.
Now, like, aside from porn even, why would a fucking cam girl need fucking state? She's not even coming in contact with her clients. For God's sake.
Yeah, no. I mean, and that's the thing is like, okay, where do you draw the line? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and masturbate on a video for my boyfriend. And wait. Do you have a license? Oh, he's not paying me. Oh, sorry. Never mind.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. All right. Hold on. Okay. Requirements for the training would be developed by the state's Department of Industrial Relations, which would, in turn, be advised by a new 10-member governor-appointed board composed of 2 adult film actors, 3 dancers, 2 medical doctors, a therapist, and a money manager.
Oh, man, all those...
What the hell?
The training...
The innuendos here.
Hold on.
Possible.
The training will be a minimum of 2 hours and will provide information on reported workplace injuries, sexual harassment, and sex trafficking. Adult performers would be required to cover the cost of this training. The bill would also require that they be fingerprinted.
Who's going to perform the training? Are they going to call in some dominatrixes for that? Like, is that... They're the ones in the industry used to doing training, aren't they?
It's what's the organization, the governing body that's
they're trying to govern your body.
The Department of Industrial Relations.
The Department of Industrial. So we're going to have
the Department of Relations.
Yeah, we're going to have some members here from.
All right, that has to be the title of the episode, the Department of Relations.
Yeah. All right, and the board. Okay, the board composed of 2 adult film actors, 3 dancers, 2 medical doctors, a therapist, and a money manager.
Jesus.
That seriously sounds like a Charlie Sheen party.
It does, actually.
Yeah. Also, there's going to be a large bowl of cocaine provided at every meeting. And
what counts as a workplace injury?
I was wondering, like, would you slip in a tub while you're banging a chick from behind and her friend moved wrong, and so you down you went? Like, I don't. What?
I thought down you went is kind of part of the script.
That was supposed to come in the previous scene, and neither were you weren't, and so you're also fired for that.
Nice. And how would you lose your license? Like, what fucked up shit are you gonna have to do to lose your license?
I pulled a hammy.
Yeah, like what I see. And the funny thing is, I've brought this article up a few times in a few different groups, and I've actually had at least 6 different people be like, what's going to cut down on sex trafficking? And my response is, okay, how is it going to cut down on sex trafficking at all? And their response is to just ignore the thread from there on out.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is you have this rhetoric that you've just decided this is what it's going to do because somebody told you that's what it's going to do. And you've never given a moment of thought to whether or not it was going to change anything.
Because we all know that the government getting involved in the foster care system just like totally cut abuse of foster children out.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Completely. It reduced it to 0, right?
Yeah.
That never happens. Yeah. And we all know that the government getting involved in the business of hunting down child predators has kept child predators out of that business and has kept child predators from becoming the ones who allegedly are hunting other child predators.
Yeah.
Hashtag Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yep.
It's working well.
The bill was, according to a staff member for Garcia's office, first proposed by the International Entertainment Adult Union, a union representing strippers, adult actors, and adult film crews, much to the chagrin of some of its chapters. That included the Adult Performers Actors Guild, which has come out against the legislation put forward by their parent union.
They have a guild?
That's what I was going to say. Porn stars have a guild?
Really?
Wow.
Quote, we are shocked,
How does
disgusted.
somebody get an apprenticeship there?
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering the same thing. Like, can I apprentice?
Yeah, being a grip has a whole different meaning. Yeah, quote, we are shocked, disgusted, and angry that our parent union did this without discussing it with the APAG, without discussing it with their industry, and without discussing it with their stakeholders. Said APAG President Alana Evans to XBiz, an adult entertainment adult entertainment industry publication. Quote, nobody contacted us about this, not the IEAU, not
they have trade publications too?
Yes.
What the fuck?
What is a trade publication for that union? And how do I
mean, like, this is like, they're fucking organized, man. They're way more organized than I thought they were.
Everything is unionized.
We've been sleeping on the porn industry here, apparently. And trade publications, and that's
wow.
Do they have international symposiums? Maybe.
I think they do. Actually,
they have their own award show.
Well, they have a couple of award shows. There's the AVNs, and then there's also there's one other one that I can't remember the name of that isn't in Vegas. There's another one.
APAG raised a number of specific concerns about AB 2389 on Twitter, including that it would, by only making licensing provisions to those 21 or older, bar sex workers under 21 from the industry.
Well, everybody knows that when you ban drugs, nobody ever did them again.
Oh, yeah, of course. They also expressed concerns that the bill would force some performers to submit to licensing inspections at their homes if that's also the primary place of business.
So cam girls would all have to just allow government agents into their homes.
Yes.
Without warrants if they want to be a cam girl.
Yes.
Under this bill.
Jesus. And look, it's not going to stop trafficking. All it's going to do is drive it even further underground and make it harder to detect.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
which would increase sex trafficking.
Right, which would increase trafficking. I mean, it's the same thing as like all of the sexual assault videos that that have started to get a lot of press on Pornhub and YouPorn and RedTube and all the other video sites that host videos, because they can be uploaded by users. So like all of these like sexual assault videos have started to come up, And it's like they're trying to pretend that somehow what they're doing is going to stop any of that, but it's not.
All right. In a statement, Garcia said the office is, quote, currently working on amendments that address the concerns raised, and it is my goal that training required by AB 239 would result in certification process similar to that of industries like food service.
Oh my God.
What training? What kind of training do you need? It's a literal biological function that you're performing just on film.
Yeah.
It's built into a person. Like, oh, well, we can't allow you to chew.
You're not rubbing yourself the right way on camera. This is how you're supposed to do it.
But I'm saying that's equivalent, though. So, well, we can't allow you to eat unless you undergo this training. Well, we can't allow you, I'm afraid, to go take a shit unless you undergo this government-approved training first, lest you hurt yourself.
And like, they can't even do, like, you know, like the hygiene standards or whatever. They can't even claim that because you're literally coming into contact with somebody else's bodily fluids. That's like,
well, and in California, you're already required to wear a condom if you're a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To be in adult films. That's why so much
and you have to
filming has moved to Miami.
Yeah, and Las Vegas. And yeah, and you have to go in California, like you have to go under blood testing for STDs and HIVs and things like that. So, and they're unionized. So they're obviously not letting, anybody in front of a camera.
Right.
So.
But I mean, that's the thing, like, because I can remember when that was a big thing, like when California started to move for the requirement for condoms on guys in adult films, because I was very close with somebody who was in adult films at the time. And I can remember that controversy and like discussing that and actually talking to the guy who's like the porn industry lawyer. You can follow him on Twitter, fun fact. But discussing that with him and the fact that, like, he pointed out, he said, if you actually read these laws the way that they wrote them, if you choose to videotape yourself with your husband,
mm-hmm.
and he's not wearing a condom, you can go to prison.
Yeah.
That's absurd. And it passed anyway. And now they're trying to do it again with licensing. Mm-hmm. What happens if a married couple decides that they want to start recording themselves and slapping it up on Adult Friend Finder or something, for just random unpaid consumption? Under this law, they're going to wind up having to go get a license to record something they do anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The creation of licensing requirements gives state regulators the authority to police the behavior of participants, and which is often a pretty informal industry. Yeah, that's true. It's true also that it's also true that regulatory seeds, once planted, tend to grow. It's conceivable that the bill's current 2-hour training requirements could be expanded to become more erroneous over time.
I can't believe they called it an often pretty informal industry. I mean,
pizza delivery guy is not really like a real profession.
I mean, I've watched a few of those videos, and I'm not entirely certain that those men are in fact medically trained.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I think they might be fibbing a little.
It doesn't matter if those were real nurses or not. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't believe they have any medical training.
And pretty informal. Like, I haven't watched too much black tie porn. Is that a thing?
All I can think of is that scene in Family Guy where he's watching the fancy British porn. Almost.
Yes.
Almost done. Reginald, we could have sex right now. Yes, we could, but let's not. Let's not, yes.
What is, seriously, pretty informal? What does formal porn look like?
I'm
just curious. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen videos that start out with interviews and stuff. So I guess,
True.
I mean, that's kind of formal.
Oh, I'm sure there's got to be. I'm Googling it. Hold on.
There are videos where a guy, I mean, he's even got his own office. He has a couch and everything. He conducts an interview with those nice ladies. And he, I feel like that's formal, I guess. Maybe. It's a formal setting.
Yeah.
Pornhub has a category called formal dress porn videos.
Of course they do.
So I'm not looking
Rule
for
34.
I'm not clicking on that though.
34. Why would you not?
Yep,
I'm curious
Rule
now.
34.
I'm looking that shit up later. That's happening. Just
Dude,
out of morbid curiosity.
My fucking 17-year-old the other day, like some joke came up. He was standing around while the adults were bullshitting. And he said, Rule 34. I was like, what the fuck? He's
Everyone
17.
knows Rule 34.
Yeah.
And if you don't know Rule 34, Google it, all right? Don't click on the images after you Google it, but just Google it.
Right. Yeah.
Can we go back to this board? The 10-member governor appointed board.
Yes.
Like,
yes, the relations with 10 members.
Yeah.
Two adult film actors, 3 dancers, 2 medical doctors, a therapist, and a money manager.
I know I take all of my professional advice from strippers.
Yeah.
Um,
And my financial advice.
yeah, it's I especially take hygiene advice from strippers.
Yeah.
Okay, like the actors and the dancers, okay, I get. The doctors, okay, I can make an honest argument for that.
Right.
Therapist, also, I can make an honest
Argument.
The
for that.
financial advisor.
a money manager.
Yeah.
Really, like,
They're really that worried about these chicks? Like suddenly they shoot to stardom. And that's an industry trope, right? Like everyone knows that happens. Where some starlet, she shoots to stardom, she makes $30,000 a month for like a year and a half, and she blows all of it. And then she's used up. She wants to get out of the industry.
She really blows all of it.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
she blows all of it. The load is shot, if you will. And now she's beat up and it's out. And
now she's screwed because
now she's screwed.
She was getting money shots for a whole year and then they dried up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're crusty and flaky and it's just gross.
Right.
So, I mean, that happens. And we
wash
know that
the
it
sock.
happens.
This is like the new libertarian Gary Johnson. Wash the sock.
the sock. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's, that happens though, and it does happen where they don't know how to manage that much money because they're 18 years old and they've never had money, and all of a sudden they have it. But it also happens in the music industry. It also happens in tons of entertainment industries.
In NFL, Major League Baseball, they both have rookie symposiums, and they have people that come in and talk about money, and they have veterans that went through and are broke as fuck, and they go through and talk about the money. And
dude,
it happens.
My boss played for Marshall in college. He was recruited to Marshall and starter for them for 4 years. Didn't play in the NFL, but he played the AFL, Arena Football League, for years. Made a decent amount of money for it, and now he's just my boss.
Yeah.
At this point, like, he's not anything, and like gets him and his buddies that were on his team get their entertainment by competitively playing Madden against each other, and that's
and we're not saying it's a bad idea to have a money manager and to save your money and become your money, but the government
on the licensing board.
Come on.
It being a requirement for them to determine, oh no, they're going to use this money wisely. What fucking business is it of yours if I'm going to use it wisely or not?
Yeah.
I mean, fuck you. Like, what if
Does
I
it
want
look
to blow
like
it
I
all?
make a lot of wise life decisions at this point to you?
I'm informed.
I'm sorry, Becky. Breast enlargement is not a sound investment.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, it is in California.
Always a sound investment.
Yeah.
And stripping too. It's but it's just the absurdity of this. Like, you want to license taking your clothes off.
I have a picture. You guys know the meme. It's been done in every fucking variation of all the black guys lined up behind the couch and what's her name? That little blonde right? I forget her
One with
name.
the braces, yeah.
Yeah. That's like fucking like she's all the adult,
Yep.
industry
We're doing this
workers.
meme now.
And then this
We're doing
board
this
is like
fucking meme.
lined up behind the couch.
Oh, that meme is definitely being made.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
happening. Oh, fuck yes, is that happening now? It
Yeah.
has. But yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, where they're just like,
yeah.
we're gonna gangbang the shit out of you.
Hashtag that's what she said.
Ah. But I mean, that's what. Yeah, you're right. That is exactly what this is. It's a government version of this, where it's just all these regulations lining up behind you.
The
and you're just
government
like,
wanted
"This
in
is
on
gonna
the
be
action,
great."
so they're gonna fucking gangbang all of you, whether you like it or not. It's gang rape, really. Let's call it gang rape.
That's
really
what it,
it
I mean.
is.
If taxation is theft, regulation is definitely rape.
Especially regular. I mean, again, all of these people, right, that we're talking about, if they wanted to just have sex with a bunch of people,
Yeah.
could.
Yep.
Legally, and there's nothing the government could do about
Well,
it.
yeah, that's one of the arguments regarding legalization of prostitution or decriminalization of prostitution, right?
Right. I think we talked about it last time.
Like
Actually.
if I have a girl to dinner and I spend $50 on dinner and we go for drinks and we go for a movie and I'm out like $130 at the end of the night and we have sex, it's fine.
Right.
But if I pull up to a street corner and I offer her $50 per head, suddenly that's illegal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's and here's where it gets murkier is if you go, hey, I'm gonna take you to dinner, spend money at dinner, and then you're giving me head, and then oh hey, let me pay you back for dinner because you paid for it,
or even
and
if
I give you $50.
You have sex with this girl and then find out that she's about to lose her apartment and say, hey, let me kick in a little bit towards your rent because I like you and you're a decent person. And
because I don't want you staying at my house when we do that thing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I want to help. That's okay. But giving her the money directly because of the sex you had with each other, that makes it not okay.
Magically. Well, and and Lindsay and I have talked about this too, where we're both of the opinion that all relationships ultimately are a form of prostitution. Because you're getting something in exchange for doing things romantically and sexually for another person.
Right. Otherwise you'd just be like best friends.
Yeah. Otherwise you would just be friends.
Or roommates.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So technically all relationships could be argued to be some form of prostitution. So I mean they're trying
Where does it end?
Yeah, it doesn't, and it doesn't, because it's just gonna keep going. I mean, you guys watched Demolition Man, right? That's he doesn't know how to use the seashells. But you guys watched Demolition Man. Remember how like even kissing was outlawed? And everything.
Exchange of fluids.
Yeah, and you couldn't have sex, actually directly have sex unless you like got approved by the government through this licensing and testing process. And it's the only legal way. Like that's the direction that we're actually heading with shit like this. Like we're getting
and
to this point.
let's all right. We can even talk about this. Like this bill was written by 2 female Democrats.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a big surprise. I'm shocked.
Right, and like, aren't they supposed to be like pro freedom of choice, pro my body, my choice?
Yeah. Right,
like,
and that's what I was wondering. Like, how does this square with the
demands
of consent? How does it square with consent?
Yeah. This is a very, very, very conservative Christian type bill.
Yeah.
Like same with the Republicans in Tennessee with the can't have tax-free tampons on 3-day tax-free day. Well, it's the same line of thinking.
If you follow what's her name? Sandra, I know at least one of you is a friend with her too. I don't remember her last name.
Salas?
Yes. She always posts about that because she's a stripper and also very politically active. And she always posts about how she always sees way more venom coming against sex workers from the left and not the right.
Yeah.
That the right has a tendency to go, let me help you to not have to do this.
Right.
And I want to, I want to help you. And the left just goes, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
And that's
the right might be disapproving, but they're going to try to find a solution for you. to the problem they imagine you have. It's not as vitriolic as the left. And I mean, that you could say that about almost everything. You know, the right is never as vitriolic as the left is about anything.
The right tends to be like, and you know, and I've noticed that, and I've tried to explain to people when I'm like, well, I was a neocon and I was a hardcore, you know, politically right person before I went to libertarianism and then anarchism and stuff. And I brought that up that I think it's a much easier progression from the political right to anarchism than from the political left to anarchism.
I think
a lot of it is because the political right has such a view of, this is my personal responsibility to help these people. This is my personal responsibility to do these things.
Yeah.
So rather than going, well, I need government to do this,
I think the right cares more about the word freedom and what it actually means. Like, they're the ones who are super proud to live in the freest country on earth. Or, you know, the ones. That word is big to them, even if they don't quite understand what it really means. That word is not as important to people on the left. So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, and that's definitely the case. Like, I've noticed that, Jason. I'm sure you come from a similar background to me, so I know that's definitely the case for you too. Is you've seen that where it's a lot of the political right is, hey, leave me alone.
Yeah,
and the left tends to be, but we need to save you. And I actually watched, there's an awesome video, and I encourage all of the listeners, watchers, and you guys to watch if you haven't. John Stossel on Fox Business.
Big Stossel fan.
He's talking about the Bunny Ranch, which is now defunct, unfortunately, after the death of its owner and everything else. But he's talking about the Bunny Ranch, and he's talking about legalized prostitution and essentially why it should be legal everywhere. And he interviews a bunch of the bunnies from the Bunny Ranch, and them talking about, well, through legalized prostitution, you know, I'm able to make sure that I'm in a safe working environment, and I have somebody where I can go to them if something happens with a client, and I can go to the law if something happens, you know, if it becomes a police matter, I can do that. And then, you know, when they're talking about it, and then he goes to this very leftist female Democrat lawmaker who wants to ban prostitution.
The woman that was on the county chair.
Yeah. And he goes to her, and she goes, well, it's about protecting women, and it's about keeping women safe, and we just want women to be safe, and it's all about women. And then he goes, well, it's interesting that you would say that, because I actually have right here these women who work as prostitutes at the Bunny Ranch, and they're like, no, we're safer now than if you make this illegal. And she goes, well, it's not about you, honey.
Yeah.
So
am I not women?
What is it about?
Yeah.
If it's not about the women who are literally working as prostitutes, who are you protecting by trying to make prostitution illegal?
Yeah. She doesn't want anybody new going into that profession, because she thinks that it's degrading. But it's not fucking degrading. We all use our bodies for work in one way or another. It's not fucking degrading. So again, liberals are looking down on people and thinking they need to fix things for these people who are below them and less than them.
Yeah.
It's elitism.
Yeah. Let me protect you from yourself.
Yeah, and you should see how condescending she is. And I've also seen videos from other people where...
Yeah, it's the same. It goes along the same argument that they use for gun control and abortion and all this other stuff. It's like, we collectively know better how to run your life individually.
Yeah, than you do.
And that's the difference between the left and the right in general. In general. Like, yeah, I mean, Republicans still want to control people's lives up at the actual government levels. But the people who identify as Republicans, just regular people who identify as Republicans, they don't have that. They just fucking want to be left alone. And they want you to take responsibility for all your shit so they don't have to.
Yeah, it's different perspectives on different religious symbols.
And I mean, of course there are, and of course there are exceptions. I mean, there's that Republican who's sponsoring a bill right now to try and outlaw my industry. the short-term lending industry effectively by making all of our interest rates illegal, which is ridiculous. And I think we've had that conversation even on the show before. That we've had that conversation.
Yeah, we have.
That's a Republican from Wisconsin who's sponsoring that bill and pushing that. So it isn't entirely just left versus right. I mean, they are the same wings on the same shit-covered pigeon. Yes.
Yeah.
But you also have to remember that in general, especially when it comes to sex workers, the left has way more hatred. Like, honest, just venomous, vitriolic, just awful things to say about sex workers. Yeah. Despite being all women and women empowerment and everything. And then immediately, as soon as sex workers like, yeah, women, that's why I use, my body to make money off of men because they desire me. And that's, women power, right?
Yeah.
Because most dudes are not going to get the same thing.
That's probably the most woman power thing to fucking do because it is specific to you being a woman. It is like, you're not going into a man's industry or anything like that. You are literally using the fact that you are a woman to make money. How is that not empowering for women?
And it should be, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I realize I'm obviously a dude, but I feel like that's an empowering thing. Like, hey, you can manipulate these guys. And I know plenty of women in those industries who do this, who are in porn, who are cam models, who are nude models, and do those things. And some of whom have broken my heart. But look at you, Michaela, moving away. Anyway, but so I know a bunch of them, and they all kind of have the same attitude. Is like, I can't imagine anything more empowering than this because I get to all I have to do is be like, hey, I'll show you my boobs if you give me $50, and these guys will just throw $50 at them, and here's my boobs. And they carry those around all the time. That's just them because they're a woman. They have them. Abracadabra, they can make money off of a guy.
Yeah.
What's more, I mean, the historically, like, that whole idea of feminine wiles was always this thing. Like, you got to watch out for women because they'll manipulate you and do things. And that's actually the girl power thing. Like, that's the feminist thing. And you would think these leftists who proclaim themselves feminists would be more embracing of that. But instead, their response is,
that's how feminine,
far nastier.
This is an interesting topic because that's how feminine wiles even became a thing, because women just weren't allowed any other power in their lives other than manipulating the men in their lives. And that's how it became a thing. That was the only power women could seize for themselves, was to manipulate men. So, I mean, that was the original female empowerment.
And historically, it's worked pretty fucking well. Because I don't care how MGTOW or incel you are as a dude. Like, a chick's like, hey, I'll bang you, but I need my car fixed. So you need to pay to get my car fixed. You're kind of like, well, I mean, maybe. Like, it's just, it happens. Man, it happens. Especially, I mean, if you're a completely single dude who has no other feminine attention. Look at how many guys will pay for these cam girls to, like, basically pay their way through college or pay for their favorite stripper that they go see regularly to get a boob job that they want, or help them with rent or whatever. Because, well, you're giving them what they want. You're giving them feminine attention, and that's what they want. And they're willing to pay for that. And that's the same thing that porn is largely. And because this regulates cam girls, it's especially relevant because, again, cam girls are much closer to their audience than porn stars. They interact with them regularly. They can form friendships with them and talk to them and things. They're providing a service. There's so many dudes who would otherwise probably be fucking suicidal, let's be honest, out of loneliness, if they didn't have this cam girl to interact with, who gives them that who's that chick that they can lavish affection on through the form of, like, buying them gifts, giving them money, whatever. And it makes them feel good.
This is supply and demand. I mean, it's just a fact of human life that men want women more than women want men.
And it's always existed. Don't pretend that it's the decline of Western civilization.
Yeah.
Paramours,
Yep.
that term, a paramour was a chick that you wanted to bang and possibly were banging, who was not your wife, who was, probably significantly younger than you, who you took care of and were a patron of. That term has been around since the middle fucking ages in Europe.
Yeah.
So don't pretend that this is new.
All right, for shits and giggles, I looked it up. Remember that girl, that cam girl that was selling her bathwater? Daphne,
yes.
Belle Daphne, right? Selling for like $30 a piece. So I looked it up, and this article on The Guardian says that she has 4,000 followers on Patreon.
Wow.
And charges up to $2,500 a month for access to her elusive lewd Snapchat.
2,500 a month.
So
that
times 4,000.
This girl is getting fucking paid.
Yeah,
dude. Michaela, and I won't, for the sake of propriety, I won't mention what her screen names that she goes by are, but Michaela, was supposed to friggin' date with me, and I'm still a little bitter about it. Anyway, she moved up here. She moved from Virginia to Wisconsin, and then she was here for a while, and she's working for a major armament company here in Wisconsin, and we were supposed to have a date, and our schedules never quite jibed. And then she moved back to Virginia because everybody here was being shitty to her, at least like the landlords were, because of what she did for a living. So she packed up and moved back. But anyway, which is shitty as hell. I'm just saying, landlords fuck up.
Yeah.
But anyway, she makes like $6,000 plus a month easily from only one income source.
Yep.
And she has at least 3 that are linked to her nude modeling.
Yeah.
So think about how much money she makes. Like, this chick has set up her own LLC so that she can run all of her money with everything legally and do.
It's entrepreneurial, damn it. I mean,
it is
absolutely.
Yeah.
Flaunt,
it is.
Flaunt what your mama gave you. Isn't that the term?
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
She's making far more money than I am, and she's 21. She just turned 21 fairly recently.
Yep. Unlike the politicians, she's not on the government dole.
Yeah.
She supports herself. She's not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
It's nobody's fucking business what she does.
Yeah. She doesn't even have to put herself at any kind of risk, any physical risk to do this.
Yeah. She doesn't. And so because she flat out refuses. Like, she's had offers for significantly large offers monetarily to do porn and has turned it all down. She doesn't want to do it. She's okay with nude modeling, but not actually doing outright porn. That's not okay with her.
Right.
So just doing the nude modeling, she's making that kind of money. This is entrepreneurial. This is just big money. And that's a big reason why government's going after it, is because of the sheer amount of money changing hands here.
Well, porn is what, like a multi-billion-dollar a year industry?
Trillions, probably,
and that's just porn. That's not all this, like, all the premium Snapchat and the cam girls and all this stuff that is outside of actual video work, of actual physical contact work.
Right.
Well, think about that chick, you said she has how many followers?
4,000 Patreon followers.
4,000 followers a month. If all of them only subscribe to, say, a $1 a month option, that's $4,000 a month right there.
You can live on that frugally, but you can live on that.
Around here, you could live on that happily.
We have mutual friends that do this premium Snapchat stuff, and they charge like $25 a month.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think Michaela's lowest on her OnlyFans is like 35.
Yeah. So I mean, so just quick math: 4,000 people at $25. That's $10,000 a month.
Yep.
Girl is getting paid. Let her do her thing.
Yeah, let her make the money. Let her just do that and make that money and stop trying to stick your fucking hands into it.
Yeah.
Bullshit. All right, let's
trying to stick your hands into
all
it.
of your fingers, not even just your fingers. You're trying to get an entire hand in there, and they don't like that. Some of them do. I'm not here to judge.
We've shot our wad on this one. Let's
I think we're just beating this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been put away wet.
Absolutely hammered.
Yeah. Oh, all right. I can't go to that article after that. I gotta go to a different one. All right, because it's a jail. I got 2 articles about jail. I mean, we can't talk about jail after prostitution. After that, all right. So,
Jesus,
just
that booty. We all know
that. Yeah. Here's one about getting fucked. DC issues over $1 billion in parking and traffic tickets over the last 3 years, according to AAA.
Doesn't surprise me. DC isn't built for people to be able to fucking park there.
Because it was built when people fucking used a horse.
Yeah, over $1 billion in parking and traffic tickets have been issued to motorists in Washington, D.C. over the last 3 years, according to findings from AAA. The automobile organization said that over 8 million citations were issued to drivers from 2017 to 2019, totaling a record $1,007,159,581 in fines.
Now, this is just for one fucking city.
Yeah,
this is just for...
Yeah, 8.2 million traffic and parking tickets.
Yeah, in like 4 square miles.
Yeah.
Or no, well, it's more than that now, but it's
like 10 square miles. But...
Yeah. In 3 years. How do they even have the balls to still tax people when they're raking in that kind of fucking dough off of citations? Like, where the fuck is all this money going?
Yeah, hold on. According to the reports, 971,913 tickets went unpaid in 2019.
What a shocker.
Totaling $177,387,958.
And keep in mind that if you are a foreign national in DC working in an embassy, you're diplomatically immune, which means if you get a parking ticket, you don't have to pay it and there's nothing they can do about it. So keep in mind how many of those embassies are in Washington, D.C. and how many cars belong to those embassies. And
here you go.
And imagine how many tourists come in that don't understand the city and don't know where to find parking. I mean, like, DC has a massive amount of tourism every year too.
I got another number for you. AAA estimates that tickets issued and fines will again break records in 2020. Townsend said the district processed 678,763 parking and traffic tickets through January 15th of this year.
Jesus.
15 days.
Are you sure they're not going by the? Are you sure they're not going by the fiscal calendar?
Break records 2020. So through January 15 of this year, 678,763 parking tickets carried a value of $86 million. $86,006,430.
Jesus.
Wow.
So I did math correctly this time. And based on the population, the total population of the greater DC area is 633,000 people.
Yeah.
And
that's like a ticket per person.
Person, that averages out to over $2,500 a year in parking ticket fines.
Yeah.
Per person. Yeah. 8.2 million traffic and parking tickets.
Well, I mean, just this year, that's like 1 ticket per person already.
Yes, just this year. That's just through January 15th. We're like 6 weeks beyond that now.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
So every person in the entire city, on average, if it was distributed across the mall, has received multiple parking tickets.
Yes. But you know what? There's a lot of fucking ghettos in DC. They could be leaving tickets on fucking husks of cars sitting on cinder blocks. You know, there could be like fucking 30 of them sitting under the windshield wipers on one of these fucking immobile like heaps of junk.
Oh yeah,
So-
and there's definitely those in DC. Like,
Yeah.
it's, you know, and I laugh about that about DC too. 'Cause
Not
if
as
you've
many as
never
Baltimore,
been-
but still.
well, and yeah, Baltimore's technically the South too.
Baltimore's
That's
north of DC.
yeah, but it's still the South. It's still the South. It almost
Yeah.
joined the Confederacy in the Civil War. It is
Right.
still this.
But it's a shithole currently, is all I'm saying.
Well, yeah. But no, I've laughed about that though. About anybody who hasn't been to DC needs to realize, just like Madison was, because Madison, the capital of Wisconsin, is just like DC in so alarming an amount of ways,
Yeah.
where you have these glittering white stone buildings
Mhm.
all over the place. But as soon as you, and then just on the outskirts of that, you have all these $1 million homes that should
Yeah,
not be worth
condos.
$1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're apartments basically, but they're $1 million homes. And then if you take 3 blocks past that,
Yeah.
bullets are whizzing past your head,
Yeah.
because all of the money on that inner part of town has nothing to do with money actually being made in the city.
Yeah.
So it's actually all ghetto.
I feel that
Yeah.
here.
I think most cities are like that, honestly.
Well,
Yeah, but I mean the way it's concentrated in the center, where it's all concentrated around the big glittering dome, and
Yeah.
the one Capitol building in all of the United States that's closest to the Capitol building in DC is the one in Madison.
Right.
At one point, its dome was actually bigger than the one in DC,
Huh.
and federal law was changed to force them to make it smaller.
Oh, God.
my
Yeah.
ego.
Yeah, exactly. But it was so, and the way it's set up with its monuments and everything else, it is like little DC in the upper Midwest. It's fucking horrid. And it's the same way. And like when I went to DC, I experienced the same thing, where you see all of these streets that are super narrow right up by the Capitol and where everybody wants to actually go in the city, all of these narrow streets. But as soon as you get away from them to where there might be parking, you don't want to leave your car there.
Right.
So
Yeah, if you're going into DC, what
Take
you
it.
actually do is you park at one of the outlying metro stations that's in a slightly better neighborhood. And then you ride the metro into the city if you want to go to the Smithsonian Mall. Because
Yep.
there's no fucking parking in DC.
Yeah.
None.
and then you just walk around because it's the better option. Because otherwise,
Right.
what will happen is your car will be broken into,
Yeah.
and possibly the entire car will be stolen. You don't know.
Yeah. It's
But
that
that's
or
why
shin
everything-
splints.
No.
I'll take fucking shin splints.
Yeah, but I mean that's why so many people, so many tourists who drive into DC who aren't familiar with it wind up with parking tickets,
Right.
because I have to pay for the privilege of leaving my vehicle in a given location, my property, and you didn't give me any decent alternatives at all. You didn't bother to figure out a way to give me a decent alternative. So, but no, now I have to pay you for the privilege of having left my vehicle.
Kevin has to pay to go to work, to park his car for work every day, all day, every day. He pays parking. So,
It's
Yep,
fucking ridiculous.
because he
Oh,
works up in
yeah.
DC. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, he fucking hates his drive to work. DC is just like, oh my God, it's terrible. If you take one piece of advice from me ever, it is just don't drive in DC. Just fucking go around it.
Oh, yeah. I'm like 35, 40 minutes from Oakland and then 50 minutes from San Francisco. So, yeah. I get it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I have a friend that was planning on going to LA, and I'm like, "You gonna rent a car?" And he's like, "Yeah, probably." And I'm like, "Don't,
Well,
Yeah, don't.
no.
do not, do
You
not."
can get
do
a
that.
taxi anywhere you want to go. Just fucking
Ubers.
Yeah, taxis, Ubers, just use that, man. Trust me. Do not.
Ubers and electric scooters or electric
Yep.
bikes.
There's just
So.
too many damn cars, and you're gonna get
Yeah.
ticketed, and it's gonna happen. And
Mhm. You'll probably get hit too, and then you'll be liable for that to the rental company.
yep, you
Yeah.
pay for the insurance because you're a mook. Everybody should pay for the insurance. Always pay for the insurance because rental cars are the fastest cars in the world because you don't give a shit about them. So you will drive the fuck out of a rental car.
Never buy a used car from a rental
ever. Unless it's a GTH. The Ford Mustang GTH.
Oh, the Hertz?
Yes. Buy those because those are worth it. But anything else, nah. Don't trust it.
Here you go. Okay. Mississippi court upholds 12-year sentence for a man who unwittingly had a phone in jail.
Fucking believable.
Yeah.
Don't they have to prove intent to prove a crime?
No.
Like, do they just not have to prove intent?
He's already behind a cage. They don't gotta prove anything.
Yeah, they don't have to do shit.
When Willie Nash was booked into a Mississippi corrections facility, officers failed to confiscate his phone. For that, he was sentenced to 12 years behind bars. The state Supreme Court acknowledged that proper booking procedure was probably not followed and that Nash did not seem to know his phone was illegal, but nonetheless ruled Thursday that the sentence is fair.
How is that fair?
So he had no idea. Hold on. They failed to tell him and they failed to do anything about it, but it's his fault.
Yes.
Who even cares? Like, why do they even fucking care?
It gets even better. Okay. After Nash was booked into the Newton County Jail on a misdemeanor charge, he asked the jailer to charge his phone, seemingly unaware that he was not supposed to have the item. Mississippi Code Section 47-5-193 considers the possession behind bars of, quote, any weapon, deadly weapon, unauthorized electronic device, contraband item, or cell phone a felony that carries a prison term of 3 to 15 years.
How the fuck?
That is fucking absurd.
The jailer took the phone to a sheriff's deputy. Nash initially denied ownership, but officials confirmed that it was his using the passcode he had previously provided the jailer. In one of the text exchanges, one of the text exchanges discovered a contact inquired about Nash's location, to which he responded, quote, in jail. A jury then found Nash guilty of possessing a cell phone in the correctional facility. At sentencing, the judge told Nash to, quote, consider yourself fortunate. He had the court use Nash's previous burglary conviction to classify him as a habitual offender, he would have received the 15 years in prison, not 12. Hold on, this is where it gets even worse. All right, Nash appealed not the conviction but the lengthy sentence. He said he was both, quote, grossly disproportionate and a violation of the Eighth Amendment rights against cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
He also argued that the statute's list of prohibited items put them in descending order of seriousness, implicitly indicating, quote, a different degree of transgression that deserved different penalties. But the state Supreme Court decided that it could not find, quote, under the law that the trial court abused discretion in sentencing.
That is,
hold on. Okay. Quote, while obviously harsh, Nash's 12 years sentence for possessing a cell phone in a correctional facility is not grossly disproportionate, the court concluded. The judge, the decision noted, had expressed his reasoning for the sentence, citing Nash's prior convictions and acknowledgement that he could have been given the full 15 years.
Oh my God.
So because he was like, well, yeah, I mean, they could have given me 15 years under the law, because he acknowledged that that's what the law said.
It's
totally
acceptable that he got 12 years
because it could have been 15
before the cell phone that the jailer didn't take away from him. He could have gotten 15, so it's okay.
I mean, dude, 12 fucking years because the jailers failed to take his cell phone and also didn't tell him, you're not supposed to have a cell phone.
The state Supreme Court acknowledged that proper booking procedure was probably not followed.
So is every human being in this country supposed to walk around with a knowledge of proper booking procedures just to make sure, on the off chance they get arrested, that they follow the proper booking procedures?
According to this ruling,
according to the government, ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Unless you're a cop, in which case it's an excuse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. In In a concurring opinion, Associate Justice Leslie D. King wrote that while the court upheld the case and its ruling, the case, quote, seems to demonstrate a failure of our criminal justice system on multiple levels. Like,
which you just
no
confirmed.
shit. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It was, quote, highly probable, King said, that the proper booking procedure was not followed and that Nash's behavior indicated he was unaware that the phone was illegal. He added that it seemed, quote, problematic to allow someone into jail with a cell phone and then to prosecute the person for such action.
Yeah. That's not even an action. He didn't even take
He didn't do anything. He just failed to be like, hey, do you want my cell phone? Like, should I be giving
He
this
wasn't
up?
trying to hide
no,
it.
he
He fucking
had-
asked a jailer to charge it for him.
him. Yeah, that's all. That's what he asked. Like, he wasn't trying to hide it. Like, he wasn't being shyster and doing things with it. All that he had it and asked the jailer to charge it. And the jailer's like, oh, no, you're not supposed to have that. Let's go to the sheriff.
Yeah.
Instead of the jailer doing, even a halfway decent thing, ignoring all the rest of this, instead of it, jailer doing a halfway decent thing, being like, oh shit, you weren't supposed to have that actually. No, I can't charge it. Sorry, man.
Yeah, that's my bad. I'm going to have to put it with the rest of your possessions.
Yeah, I got to put it with the rest of your possessions. Instead of doing that.
Yeah. And the burglary charge that they used to justify the 12-year sentence, that was 10. This arrest for the misdemeanor was 10 years after, and he had served full time for that.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So once you paid your debt to society, you're still a piece of shit, and we're still going to treat you worse than anybody else.
Yes.
Yep.
And
even
and
though
he
theoretically you've paid your debt.
Yeah, he also got married and had 3 children in that time and was providing for them. But now he's.
And what was
But
the
now he's in
misdemeanor
prison.
charge? What was that for?
It does not say what the misdemeanor charge was.
Oh. I bet it was
we
bullshit.
We can assume it was probably a victimless crime.
Oh, I'm absolutely betting it was a victimless crime.
Yeah.
And the last line of the article says that Mississippi has the 3rd highest incarceration rate in America.
Gosh, what a surprise that a southern
Because that's
state...
just what a state that's always struggled with poverty like Mississippi needs. Is, to be locking up most of their people.
But I mean, if you look at the South, and having dealt with law enforcement in the South and gotten several members of law enforcement and a judge and a prosecutor fired in the South, do not fuck with the National Security Act, motherfuckers. But anyway, ignoring that, if you look at everything that has happened since the Civil War there, I mean, you're talking about 150 years. And the way that things have come to operate in the South, they hump the legs of law enforcement in the South consistently. They'll wave rebel flags and go, we're so independent.
I was just going to say that. Like, I've seen rebel flags with a blue line.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're still like, we're such rebels. Oh my God, the enforcers of the law of the federal government. Let me come love you. Like, it's just the.
I always imagine it as like that movie, My Cousin Vinny. Yeah, that's how I imagine Southern justice.
And that is the way it fucking works too. That is the way it works. Where there was a joke when I was in Georgia where everyone laughed and was like, yeah, Georgia, come on vacation. Don't leave because you're stuck on probation. Like, that was Georgia. That is the state of Georgia. That is also South Carolina. That is also North Carolina. That is also Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana and Texas. And
the other jail article I have is from Alabama.
Look at that. What a shocker.
We should get to that because I got to go in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I was trying to hurry. Okay.
Yeah, that's the deep South right there. And we're about to see
this is just so okay. Dying behind bars. 33-year-old inmate stage 4 cancer going untreated in Alabama prison.
Jesus.
Until last spring, Justin Faircloth supported his family of 3 by working on the assembly line at the Honda plant in Talladega County. But his life was upended when he found out that he was dying. April 2019, the 33-year-old Odenville man was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, which had spread to his liver. He underwent several rounds of chemotherapy, but in December, Faircloth was booked into Into County Jail on probation revocation after being arrested and charged with crimes, including drug possession and resisting arrest in the preceding months. Okay, the drug possession was for cannabis and oxycodone. It doesn't say it in this article. I had to actually find it.
Yeah, so he was trying to treat his
He's
disease.
He's got
his
fucking
fucking pain.
From.
Yeah. Since then, he has been transferred to state custody, but he has not received chemotherapy or other necessary cancer treatment since October, according to his oncologist, Dr. Asim Shaibi of the Alabama Cancer Center in Anniston, who says that Faircloth's conditions worsened with every passing day. Quote, I have not received any treatment. They haven't let me speak to my doctor since the 17th of January, Faircloth said in a call to the Limestone Correctional Facility last week. Quote, they have me in general population and I have no immune system. I have problems digesting and I've got some bleeding in my stool.
Jesus.
And I would wager, he doesn't mention it, but I would wager just from my own experience with the correctional system in the Deep South, they don't give a shit. The jailers probably laugh at him when he complains and tell him to suck it up.
Yeah.
Faircloth's situation is extreme, but it demonstrates the difficulty many inmates have getting access to sufficient medical care in jails and prisons across Alabama. For years, inmates and their loved ones have complained about the inadequate care. Many have sued the Alabama Department of Corrections and local sheriff's office for failing to provide necessary treatment and protect people in their care from illnesses, medical complications, and even death.
All you had to do was literally leave him alone with his fucking medicine.
Yeah.
But now you made yourself responsible for it and you're failing.
Yeah, and it gets worse. Beginning in December, Faircloth was held for a month in the county jail in northeast Alabama, less than 40 miles from his wife, Amber, and their 4-year-old daughter. He was transferred next to Kirby State Correctional Facility, a state prison near Montgomery, where he was incarcerated for 2 weeks. Then he was transported to Limestone, a state prison near Athens in North Alabama. He remains behind bars on Limestone, over 100 miles from his home and family.
Jesus.
And people wonder why people shoot cops when they get pulled over for minor traffic violations.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder why you might rather get into a gunfight than go to prison.
Yeah.
Today, Faircloth is one of dozens of inmates housed in a crowded open section of a dorm at Limestone. He says he has lost over 20 pounds in recent weeks, that he is cold, dehydrated, and hungry, and that he has experienced a wide range of symptoms since his incarceration, from severe pain and constipation to lightheadedness and nausea.
Jesus.
For the first 7 weeks of his incarceration, Faircloth said he did not have access to the opioid painkillers, anti-nausea pills, or other medications most people with stage 4 cancers rely on to keep the symptoms at bay. Instead, he was sometimes given ibuprofen, the anticoagulant Ecolis, and Colos, a stool softener. Earlier this month, he was put on hydrocodone. For the first time, he has been able to take a painkiller stronger than ibuprofen since he was booked into the county jail back in December.
Holy fuck.
So
I mean, tell me that this doesn't violate, even looking at from a status perspective,
absolute human decency.
Yeah, tell me this doesn't violate cruel and unusual punishment.
For real.
Like, the dude is dying.
Yeah.
Absolutely, like, dying. Prescriptions are fucking expensive when it's life-saving or like needed medication.
Uh-huh.
So
and all he was trying to do is make himself comfortable.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly. Like, he was taking cannabis, which would help with the nausea. It would help with the pain. It would help with the lightheadedness.
Yeah.
And
he was just trying to be able to function during his last fucking days.
And it's funny. Like, he was arrested for cannabis and oxycodone. Goes to jail. What do they give him? Fucking oxycodone.
Yeah.
They literally prescribed him in jail the pill that he was taking on the outside without prescription.
Yep.
And he's gonna die in a fucking cold cell by himself, 100 miles from his wife and kid, over a fucking pill that, because he didn't have a piece of paper saying he could have it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Because, and that's the thing that, again, I mean, not to continue to hate on the American South, but continuing to hate on the American South. That's the thing that I've noticed about the American South. It's different than the rest of the country. Is the American South, if you get caught for drug charges, even if it's just marijuana, they will fucking throw you in prison as long as they can.
Yeah.
They will imprison you as long as they can come up with a justification for happily, and they will torture the fuck out of you if they can figure out a way to do it. And the reason is because it's that authoritarian bootlicking culture that's prevalent there.
Yep.
Everyone just is like, oh, authority. La, 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 la. Oh, I love the taste of kiwi.
Yep. That's fucking sad. It's infuriating, really. So.
And it's what is the justice? I mean, honestly, what is the moral justification for that? There's no moral justification here. This guy is dying. He doesn't pose a threat to society. He doesn't.
But this is this is the result of people obeying orders. This is the result of a whole system built on obeying orders.
Conversation with one of the other judges said he's using his sickness as an excuse to get out of jail over and over again. In layman's term, he just ran out of chances. So the judge revoked his probation and said he has to serve his days.
Oh, he's dying. He's just using the excuse.
Yeah,
well, I'm
so
dying.
So his sickness, he's fucking terminal. You fucking psycho.
Yeah,
he's
so
he's dying.
So thanks to the government, he's not eligible to be released until April 1st, 2031.
He'll be dead way before that.
He's not likely to make it to 2021.
Yeah.
So he's going to die in prison just because how dare you try and treat
yourself.
You're dying with something that the government didn't say was
permission from a fucking civilian.
Yeah.
And not even a bureaucrat, not even part of the government by any means at all. Because
another civilian.
Because you did not have permission from a doctor to have these pills.
Yep.
You're going to die in a cage.
Yep.
And again,
that is your
justice
system.
People wonder why people are willing to shoot out minor traffic stops. This shit right fucking here. Because they do not care about you.
The last two stories, both of them.
Yeah. They don't care about you. They don't care about your well-being. They don't care about the society at large's well-being. They don't care about your situation.
They don't give a fuck about mitigating circumstances.
Yeah, they don't care about any of it. All they care about is that they get their revenue. They care that they get to exercise their authority, and that's it. That's all that matters to them. And don't sit there and think.
And the DA, I guarantee you that the police are going to mark this up on their statistics as taking a quote drug dealer or drug user off the street.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he'll definitely be included in that, and they'll fucking circle jerk to that shit too.
Yeah.
And and the people who still worship these assholes and think that they have some sort of magical fucking greatness to them, like I want to hit you in the head with a fucking shovel. I really do.
Yeah.
You pieces of shit enablers.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Derek, plug your book. And mention it. Mention that article. Come on now. Brag a little bit.
That's right. My book, titled Think for Yourself, Critical Thinking Workbook for Beginners. You can find it on Amazon. If it's easier to just type in my name, if you know how to spell my name, you can type that into Amazon.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
It'll be linked in the description.
Yeah.
So.
And it was just featured in an article on shithitthefanplan.com. And the article is titled, what is it? Something about, I forget the title exactly, but critical thinking is a survival skill that everybody needs, essentially.
Worst plug ever.
I know, right? I know. I just wasn't expecting it for whatever reason because I'm an idiot. So I'm not prepared. So yeah, you can find that on Amazon. And I know I've really made a good case for why I'm an expert in critical thinking during this plug. Yeah. It's late. It's 11 o'clock p.m., okay? And I already podcasted once today. Sorry.
Yeah, Derica was on
the Dank Pod Stash.
Yeah, Enemy of the State
Pod
Dank
Stash.
Pod Stash with
Yes.
Nick Irwin.
Yep. And last week I was. So that's all three of us now that have been on that.
Yeah, this was the second time I've been on there. So.
Oh, well, aren't you special? You know
I
what?
like to think I am.
I'm proud of the fact that I was finally.
Yeah.
Nick's a really great guy. I really enjoy talking to him.
Yeah. Overlooked prepping skill, critical thinking.
There you go.
That was on shtfplan.com.
Overlooked was the word that just wasn't coming to my mind.
It was, could you say, overlooked?
Yes, I overlooked it. Yes.
Yes, and Derica's book is the only
Bee's
book.
Knees? Yes, it is.
Yeah,
I'm just joking. It's the only book. What?
Speaking of Bee's Knees, did you see that article out of Southern California?
Yeah.
Police showed up because somebody got stung by a bee, and like the first.
Why were the police called?
Police and firemen showed up, and then they got attacked by like 40,000 Africanized bees.
Well, for firemen, firemen actually perform a useful service, but
but the bees attacking the police was just fucking glorious. But yes, Derica's book, it's so great. I have it in my own library.
That's right.
I have a free copy because I read it before you.
He read it before it was even published.
Well, you know what? But see, I gave her money for my copy.
Yeah.
So...
You gave Amazon money.
Jason was my primary editor, really, that I was bouncing ideas off of.
So all of the little errors I can blame on him then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
no, don't think that those don't fucking haunt me, okay? Because those fucking haunt me.
When we went through it, I threatened to go through with a red pen and just be like, I'm gonna.
Because I'm such a grammar Nazi on Facebook, I know.
Yeah, and just like send you pictures of every page. Like, here's where this should have been rephrased, and this actually isn't the right punctuation here. And
yeah.
Yep.
Whatever.
Stay tuned for Derica's next book, Oxford Comma and Why It's Important.
Yeah, right.
I was just gonna mention there's at least one point where you don't use an Oxford comma that irked me.
Hey, well, Oxford commas are sexy.
They are.
Yeah. I was probably just typing too fucking fast. Honestly, that's where all my mistakes come from. Just typing too goddamn fast. So
yep. On that note, support your local sex worker, and we'll catch you next week.
On that note, my book, we're talking about my book, buying it, and he says support your local
sex worker.
Sex workers don't care about proper grammar. Just saying.
Also, keep your eye. Check out Nick's Dank Pod Stash, because all three of us have been on it. Derica was on it this week. I was on it last week. I've also been on it, I think, the week or maybe 2 weeks prior, arguing for the Boogaloo. It's a freaking awesome podcast, and you should definitely check it out. Also, don't forget to keep an eye out for Anarchist Weapons Wednesdays coming back soon with a very special video series on weapons basics, starting from the most basic ideas of firearms, working all the way up through with the goal of trying to turn all of you into me.
If you don't rap about why all pistols should be Glocks, you're fired.
Oh, I'm going to bring that up. I will talk about it. It's going to happen. But the goal is to go from like the very, very basics of what is a firearm, what constitutes a firearm, all of the possible actions, how ammunition works, the types of ammunition that exist, work my way all the way up through all of that, the considerations in manufacturing of firearms, quality, basically everything that I can do to take you from a complete I know nothing about guns to an expert when you walk into your local gun shop who knows more than the guy behind the counter. That's my goal with that video series. And it's in pre-production right now. I'm trying to write episodes and figure everything out and plan out things. So
half those YouTube views will be from me.
Yeah. And the other half will be for my kids.
Yeah, and
it's
everything I can do. I want everybody to know everything I do, because if everyone in the United States knew as much about guns as I do, we would not have the push for gun control that we do. So education is how you change the world.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. This has been episode 84. We'll catch you next time. Peace.